What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt and welcome to J&M Simulations. So, long story short, it's been 4 years since the last video, and I know that obviously that's probably far too long in order for keeping viewers, and obviously that is not something that was prioritized throughout the last couple of years, but I just wanted to give a little background. So Jason and I, 4 years ago now, I mean, geez, we were probably, what, I'm going to be a junior in college now, so I was a junior in high school, and I had other priorities. I was playing sports, I was in school, getting ready for college, everything, obviously, and my flight sim knowledge, or not knowledge, but my flight sim desire literally just dropped. But I remember vowing that as soon as the 787, the quality wing 787, which is the aircraft we're currently in with the beautiful United livery, I would be going back to it, and sure enough, here I am. I know it's been a couple years. I think it's been out for maybe what, about a year, almost coming up on a year now, and first of all, it is truly amazing, first and foremost, and second of all, that's, sorry, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've done this, so to be fair, it's fair enough. So anyway, to go back into content rather in a more relaxed manner, I figured we'll just do a full flight today. This is not going to be a first impressions type video or a review. I think those will come later as soon as I have more time in the aircraft. I have about 5 hours in it now. I did Miami to Houston, Miami to Houston, then Houston to Phoenix, and now I'm doing Phoenix to San Francisco, and I think I'm going to try and do a little tour of the world. I don't know I don't know how it's going to go. I think I'm going to probably jump over to Asia next after this flight, but I'm doing it all on Project Fly, so I'll link my thing down below if you want to take a look at that. First and foremost, I wanted to take this time to actually make a comment on getting my, because I do believe that I'm going to make a comeback with the channel. But I think first and foremost, in order to gauge the efficacy of that happening, I would want to see if people, what kind of content people would even want to see, because the scene has changed significantly between when I last made videos, etc. So I just don't know what people are looking for at the moment, and I'm obviously willing and ready to supply the content. I just don't know what people are looking for. If they're looking for more stream type content, I don't know. So if you were a previous viewer and are looking now and you want to see what, have an influence on what kind of content comes next, please go for it. Let me know in a comment, tweet us, whatever, Instagram. But otherwise, I'll just keep doing stuff like this, VATSIM flights like I used to, and they'll be less frequent because of those long flights. But if you have a certain aircraft you want me to try out or whatever, also I forgot to mention, we're currently playing P3D, which is, if you knew from before the channel, is a new sim for us, and I would like to say that I'm absolutely loving it. It's super cool. Obviously I don't have much, it's a pretty bare bones setup I have right now. I actually have FTX Global installed, and that Orbix FTX Global. I have this what's it called, this aircraft, and then I forgot the other add-on I have, but there's one more. Either way, they are great add-ons that I'm very happy I have right now, and I will be expanding, but I don't have quite the budget I had before. Anyway, so we're going to get started with the flight here. We have our APU on, I believe. APU's on. I'm going to actually take off our external batteries. Where are those? We can disconnect them here, external power. We can then go off there. And while we have our thing open, we're gonna, now that we have our APU running, we're gonna let people start coming in. And then we're going to start going through our flight plan. My flight plan was mapped out with the new software that I'm using. It's called Little Map, I think. Not exactly sure, but I will be putting a link to that in the description. It's absolutely amazing. Freeware, it's fantastic. That is a panel stage. So I'm still sorry, I'm umming a lot because it's been so long since I've done this. So I am going to try and load up a flight plan here. It's been so long since I've even been in an aircraft in a flight sim, so it's very difficult to like you know, it's difficult to get back in the feel of things, and I'm also nervous because it's been so long since I've flown or played the game. But first and foremost, we're going to get started with our pause init, get our IRSs lined up and everything. I'm on this page. That is going to be set. Our reference airport is KPHX. We're currently at gate 23, which is a heavy gate for our 787. I don't know if this should actually work here. Not found. Okay, fair enough. So safe. Like I did have something here. I don't know if there's another. Yeah, I don't. Usually it would say load a flight plan, so I'm not sure. Maybe I have to actually put in my destination first. And what's it called? Origin and destination. So our origin today is Kilo Papa. I don't remember what H is. That's sad. An X-ray. And then our destination be Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar. Our flight number is UA1.
Pre-flight checklist.
2. I said 1 2. 1 2. Come on. Oh well, whatever. Our alternate, we don't need an alternate though. We're not gonna have any ground failures, obviously, because this is simmed. We have far too much fuel, so we will set that up in a minute. Init ref, we're gonna go see if I can. Flight plans here. So we had a predetermined flight plan that we're going to load in. IFR Phoenix Sky Harbor to San Francisco, and we'll see we have our flight plan appeared here. Approximately, let's see, approximately 590 nautical miles. Not bad. Take us about an hour. And I don't think I'm going to do the full flight, so I'll just cut in and out. We'll do a little bit of info here. So like I said, this aircraft is, as far as I am concerned.
Personal cellular telephones may be used while parked at the gate with the main cabin door open. We will advise you when they must be turned on. For customers seated in a row of seats identified by the words "No Children This Row," please review the white safety card in the seat pocket in front of you. The use of some portable electronic devices is prohibited while on board the aircraft. Once airborne, you will be advised when the use of approved devices such as...
So today we're going to look at our flight plan here. We're going to center it around the airplane. We'll see here. Obviously you can see that we are at KPHX, and we're going to be heading west towards KSFO. It's not that far. Our destination, you can see we are coming into KSFO from the east, and we will be, see if I can pick a waypoint here. I can center it there, click that, drop that there, center, there you go. So we're centered here. Now we can zoom in to see where, okay, so CZQ, which is Charlie Zulu. I cannot believe I'm forgetting these. Whatever, Q will go unknown. Anyway, so we're gonna have to look for an approach from terminal approach from there. Now we have our active routes here. We're gonna go into the ATC menu, get the ATIS for this airport. We're gonna see what our okay, so landing and departing runway 25 right and 25 left. So we are going to take off 25 right, as it is a 10, I believe it's 10,000 foot runway. Let's check. We will go to the EFB. We got enough information here. We can go to ground and close this out. Terminal KPH. Sorry. KPHX. Search. How do I do this? There you go. Okay. Oops. Go back. So now we're gonna look at let's see, departure. Our first waypoint is Hobbs. So we'll see if we can find a thing for Hobbs. Otherwise, we'll have to find a transition with Hobbs. Does not look like we have one here. Either way, we'll find a transition for Hobbs from the FMS. No, so as you can see, this is an extremely detailed. Oh no, they actually do have a Hobbs here. Transition to Hobbs. Great. So we'll do that. So as you can see, the Quality Wing 787 is extremely detailed aircraft. It has an EFB here that is extremely detailed. It has a lot of useful information. You could even come down here as far as seeing what runways you can even use for this, which we can see here to be 26, 25 right, and 25 left. We're actually might as well go for 26 as it's clearly a long runway, and we will look at that further in our. We'll see that further in our preparation for our flight. We really don't need this much fuel, but we'll go for it anyway. Obviously, it's kind of difficult to. You know, we can do on the mouse wheel that I've just found out. You go up by 2% each time. So we got about an even distribution of fuel for our center of gravity. We'll set the fuel tanks here, and let's see. I believe that should have just affected our performance. Right, so here we go. So we now have 63,000 pounds of fuel, which is exactly what we want. Oops. So we're not. I guess we're not fairing anymore. We were originally fairing, but we're not anymore. We're gonna do our preparation here again. Like I said, 26, 26 takeoff weight. We have that there. Oops. No, I do not want that at all. We have our takeoff weight there that we've had from our calculations. Our thrust rating, we're going to go to optimum. We're going to condition as dry. We're going to calculate what we need because it is not telling us the length of the runway, which is surprising. So we have our runway 26 for departure because it is our closest runway, and I would like to take off from that runway if possible. We have 26 here, and we'll go. We have the Chile departure with the transition at Hobbs, so we'll go in and we will put that into our flight plan. As you can see, because it is a direct transition, it'll automatically append any discontinuities in the flight plan. And because we don't actually know the weather at KSFO at the moment, we're going to go through, see if we can find a CZQ. No, we can't, so we'll have to find an approach that will work. Let's see. And we will go to menu, performance, nope, not performance, sorry, terminal charts, KSFO. We're going to go use airports for FMS, complete. We're going to go to KSFO here, and we will look going down, page down, and we will say Yosemite. So clearly it does not intersect with our flight plan. Go back to this one. Does not appear to intersect with our flight plan again. We'll go back to the first page. Now I know that this isn't the proper way to do this. Usually in this situation, your ATC would be telling you what you'd be taking, or your dispatch would be telling you what you're taking beforehand. But considering I don't have any good add-ons and I'm not using VATSIM at the moment because I haven't got them integrated working together, I'm not going to do that. So we are doing a little bit of a bare bones thing. I'll actually cut back to the video when we figure this out, and it shouldn't be long. So we actually have found something that'll work for us. Because we don't know the wind conditions at the moment, what we can do is set our start to mod 8, which will actually give us the transition at CZQ. We can execute that, go into here and figure that we will go straight from our CZQ down to CZQ waypoint into the star to get into the terminal. Let me see this for a second. It looks like a discontinuity. I don't know why. I guess that just came up, huh? Oh, they're vectoring. They're expecting vectors. Let's just delete that because we're not going to be talking to ATC today, so obviously vectors is not going to occur. We can then execute this discontinuity, take Zepper, and transfer it up to that one, execute that, no discontinuity anymore. Sorry, we'll get to that feature later. Very, very heavily featured aircraft, so it's difficult to show all the features, and clearly you can tell from all the stuff I'm doing now, it's quite an amazing aircraft, and you'll see more and more as we go on. So that's our SID now. We are transferring, like I said, at CZQ endpoint here, and we will be transferring into this SID, and as we get closer, we know the weather patterns, we will change that on, and we will now go like this. Actually, let's take that back. TCAS is off, so we're going to actually go into our TCAS setups, our transponder settings, and turn it into traffic collision avoidance system. Window heat, which should be on, and our FO door lock is. We can assume after the 30 minutes that people have boarded the aircraft sufficiently, and we will get our lights going, our beacon. Because it is nighttime, we will be rocking the logo light tonight. Other than that, we will want to put our window heat on. Should I say these will go on soon enough. Other than that, at the moment, I don't know what this FO door lock fail is. I'm not really concerned with it because I don't know if there's like a lock on this door. That's not a door, it's a window. I don't know, but I mean that's just I'm just not gonna do that because I would like to fly this properly. Hydraulic pressure obviously is low. Let's look at our fuel. Yeah, so our APU is being fueled by our left engine. That's how this aircraft works.
Once again, ladies and
in a
gentlemen,
moment we'll start our left engine. And
your seatbelt should be fastened at this time. It is our policy that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times.
I'm just gonna let her talk for the moment. It should be off.
Please locate the two exits nearest you, keeping in mind the nearest exits.
So as far as I'm concerned, I think that we're actually ready for takeoff. We have RTO set. We haven't done this. So here we get our CDU again. We'll go to our init ref. We have our reserve set. Our cruise altitude for this flight will probably only be 33,000 feet because it is actually a pretty short flight. We shouldn't need to get that higher. Cost index would be 90. Let's keep that. We do not need to request a performance initial. Give ourselves 10,000 pounds of reserve fuel. Thrust limit is set. We have already got these things figured out.
As we get ready for takeoff, please help us prepare the cabin by making sure all
right.
baggage is stowed, all seat backs and tray tables.
So I would like to actually know the data
Customers are required to observe all posted and lighted information
on this runway. That might be on the next page. Anyway, it's plenty long enough. I know that. And we will be able to see further. So another crazy feature for this aircraft. Before we get started on our taxi, we can go ahead and didn't mean to do that. We'll go navigation display. This will turn back into our CDU. And to get around this airport today, now that I don't have charts, we're going to need to look at our terminal. What is it called? They call it something on the real 787 that I do know the names to. It's terminal. It's escaping me. Whatever. basically your terminal, like the way you get around the terminal now is way different than it used to be. You can use the map, and this is a built-in Quality Wings feature. It works on every airport. You zoom. It's based on the charts that they have, I guess. You know, and you literally just zoom in all the way, and you will get a full taxi map, and it's fantastic. It works wonders. So now that that's sorted, we are actually ready for pushback. We'll go ahead and start our pushback here, and we will start our left engine. And we would like to make this into an info screen again.
Go ahead from cockpit.
I'd like to put our engine on
Clear to start
there.
engines.
And you clear to start engines.
Roger. Clear to start engines.
Let's hit 20% N2.
Start both engines.
Put the fuel back in engine 1. And we'll watch that N1 climb. You can see the engine starting to catch now. The fuel flow is positive. Our oil pressure is rising. Oil temp also rising. Oil quantity is stable. Which are all good things. So now our engine's starting. We will turn on our hydraulic system. We will turn on our left engine gen, and as soon as the engine is stably running, we will turn off the APU power. Actually, I think that needs bleed air, so we won't. So we're just going to watch out now for our pushback to make sure that we don't. Oh, this is just, yeah, that's not grass. I hope. Yeah, it looks like just, yeah, it's just tarmac anyway, so we're in a good position. We have to be turned on the right here to get to the runway anyway, so we're in a good spot. Now that the left engine is started, we will go ahead and start our right engine. You can hear the air in the cockpit come out. That means that the air is being all pushed into the engine to start the turbines moving, which is really cool because they use bleed air, and it shows that the actual systems are managing that bleed air in the cockpit without you needing to do much. 20% and 2, start the engine. So as this is going on, we might as well go into our pre-flight checklists. On this aircraft, checklists here: pre-flight oxygen tested, flight instruments tested, parking brake was set, obviously normal before start. We don't need to, we've already done that. Before taxi, anti-ice not needed, recall check, auto brake, RTO, flight controls, we will check those in a moment. Ground equipment is clear.
We're there for your comfort, but most of all for your safety, so we ask that you give them undivided attention whenever requested. Once again, thanks for flying with us. Sit back and relax, and I'll update you.
Back on, gen on, APU off, hydraulic system on. All systems are on. FT door power. That's good. That was the problem. Okay. Now that we have our engine started and we're ready to go, basically we will do a quick overview of our systems. Make sure that our flight controls are working. So we'll do full back pressure. The elevators are good. Full front pressure. Elevators do it again. Left aileron good. Right aileron good. We will do rudder in a second. You can see the rudder moving. Fantastic. Now we are actually good to go. I know that we're just gonna make sure, as a good pilot would, we are doing a flaps 5 takeoff. Yes, from runway 26. So now that that's all settled out, we're going to go back to our single function display, and we will go to make that a little bit larger so we can see around where we're going. And we're actually set for taxi, so we'll release the brakes. We'll put our left engine a little more power than our right, and we'll get this baby turned into our right. And as we're going, we will set our flaps, and we'll get our heads-up display down so we can see where we're going. So now we have a little bit of downtime while we head to the runway. Just gonna capture the center line here. So interesting things. Prepare 3D is an absolutely fantastic simulator. I was a little bit skeptical because obviously people are pretty, they're pretty like adamant on suggesting the whole, 64-bit is not really a big difference, and I completely disagree. I mean, I also might be in a different position than most people because of sorry, a little bit wacky there with the rudder. Because my computer is perhaps stronger than an average computer, it would be there is a lot of potential there that is unlocked. through the 64-bit process. Obviously, other people might not reap the same benefits. So it really is completely based on what your oops, we'll just arm that there. It is completely based on what your system has left in its wheelhouse. I mean, if you have 4 gigs of RAM, 64-bit might not work. If you have 16 like me, 64-bit might be a huge difference because it's unlocking 4 times the RAM that a 32-bit application would actually use. So, like I said, my experience, the sim has been great to me. It runs at an immense frame rate. I mean, Fraps obviously is a horrible recording software. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's really not effective frame rate wise, and it absolutely crushes it. So I mean, right now we're running 22 frames, which is not horrible. I mean, it's not good by any means. Right now outside we're running 31. You know, not good. But a good rule of thumb, I do have a very good computer. On a very high quality aircraft like this, I'm getting 100 frames a second without anything else running, and that's with right now I have my flight planning software online that's connected to the sim. I have my Project Fly account that is connected to the sim as well, and I also have Fraps running, Audacity running. So there's a lot of programs running, and it's a lot of stress on the machine, and the machine's still dealing with it very well. And so it's clearly a good identifier that the software is stable. It is very, very robust, and you know, I mean, it'll basically give you all the information you need. If you guys want to know my system's shit, I can't think. If you guys want to know my specification for my system, I'll put a link in the description, and most likely only gonna do that on request because it'll take me a little while to get all that information compiled for you. So we are actually pulling up to runway 26. We're gonna have to do a little bit of a crazy maneuver here as we are in quite an awkward position. We'll have to swing it out a little bit here because we don't want to intersect with the taxiway. Oh, the whole short line is right here. So, awkward maneuver done. So this is the whole short line. It might be the Cat 2 whole short line because it is actually really far away. Or the Cat 3, I should say. Oh wait, no. Oh no, that, okay. This is a taxiway that leads into the runway. Strange. Okay, so this is actually the right hold short path for the runway. And so we will head out to the runway now, and we will get going. I will be doing quite a bit of hand flying with this departure. Would definitely suggest it because this thing is an amazing aircraft to fly. I mean, I was very surprised. I thought it might disappoint in that sector because I know that it's not always easy to accurately depict these planes, and also the planes aren't necessarily, when a plane's this large and it's basically an efficiency machine, they're not always completely focused on quality of flight and what that feels like. But I can tell you it's an absolutely fantastic aircraft, and it flies like a dream. And when you're on short final and your flaps 30 and your maneuverability is tip top, it literally is so fun and brings back all the fun that I have with the sim. So we are going to do a before takeoff checklist. I know it's pretty stupid that we're on the runway now, but we're going to do it. Why not? Flight controls have been checked. We'll do before takeoff. Flaps are set, and that's it. So we'll leave our after takeoff up, and that'll be a pretty easy checklist to complete. But now that we are ready to go, oops, we center this. That looks good to me. Let's see. Let's center it there. Perfect. So landing lights on. We'll keep those on for under 10,000 feet. And we are ready to go. So I will take my voice out of this so you guys can hear the beautiful, I believe, Rolls-Royce Trent 1000s on this aircraft.
Check.
B1. Rotate. B2. Positive rate.
Gear up.
one. Absolute dream to take off with. So now we got our hands off the throttle. Our auto throttle is taking care of that, but we are still hand flying now. So yeah, anyway, actually let's get some information about where we're going here. This is a very poor way of doing this, obviously, but I am flying alone, so there's no other way to do it. We're expected to be at 4,300 feet, which we will achieve at this waypoint. Climbing very fast out of here. It's and also, I mean, something that might get lost in the shuffle. This plane is immensely powerful.
Flight underway. I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to offer
I'm gonna let her talk.
You will be earning valuable miles on your flight today. If you're not a
Let's go
member, please visit us
225
at
knots.
qsm.com. In just a few minutes, we will be beginning our complimentary meal and beverage service in both first class and coach. In coach, beer,
After
wine,
takeoff
and
checklist.
margaritas can be purchased with
Complete?
debit or credit. We apologize if we do not accept cash.
So, like I said,
In-flight
oh,
entertainment available on this
no, she
aircraft
wants to
includes
talk
audio
still.
and video on demand as well as Wi-Fi, all included free of charge. The flight attendant will be coming through the aisles with complimentary mixing. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
she's a very sweet voice. So, now that we are well on our way to San Francisco, we're going to pull off on our climb rate, let the aircraft come to a little bit of a more consistent climb here, and we are going to, I don't know, our flight director's telling us that. Turn into our right turn here and put a little bit of back pressure to keep that vertical speed up as we go towards our desired altitude for this waypoint of flight level 240, 24,000 feet. I believe as soon as we pass 10,000, I think I'm going to give it over to LNAV and VNAV so that we can get our proper speeds going. But like I said, I mean, it's just a joy. It is extremely stable. I mean, more stable than almost anything I've ever flown. I mean, like I can show you. I mean, when we get up to this heading that we're heading to, I mean, it's unprecedented levels of stability in this aircraft, and I think that that's probably a feature of this aircraft. You have the extremely long wings with the crazy wing flex. It's a very, agreeable beast. It bends, obviously it bends the environment around it, but it also provides that in a smooth manner. And I mean, you can feel it when you fly it. So we're going to put our autopilot on, our LNAV and our VNAV. Oh, that's why it was off, because it wasn't set on VNAV. It was set on the runway heading. So, as our plane corrects our shitty flying, I'll go ahead and talk about some things that I want to talk about. So anyway, this plane, like I said, fantastic plane. I would recommend it 100% to anybody thinking about getting it. I was extremely pleasantly surprised at the quality. Obviously, I've always been somebody who has sat behind quality wings and always complimented their products and always thought they had good products, and other people tend to disagree and think that maybe the products are not necessarily, and they're not PMDG level, but I don't think anybody necessarily is, and I don't think that that's necessarily a target that is necessary in our hobby. I think that it's more so something that people use as a benchmark and shouldn't necessarily be the standard. It is definitely the goal, but it shouldn't be the standard, right? So we shouldn't discount products that are lower than that just because they are lower than that. And I don't, like I said, I've only been in this aircraft for 5 hours, so I'm not going to say anything about the aircraft as far as what the quality level is, but it is fantastic. I mean, as you can see, all those features, it's very similar to the real aircraft. The inclusion of electronic flight bag, that we have seen previously. Shift 9 to bring it up, but we'll keep an eye on everything else as we go through the flight bag. I mean, it is just, it's just amazing. I mean, it's nothing short of amazing, is what I would say. I mean, it's just fantastic, and all these things. I mean, all the calculations that this thing can perform. As you can see, we can go all the way down, and we can put in even the CAT config, so we can go into San Francisco, see what the weather's like, what kind of approach we're going to do. If we're going to do an ILS, we're going to do a manual approach. We can then load all this into. You can see we can copy the FMC data here. See that we're going for flaps 30. Conditions will be most likely. This wants to click manual first. Let's see. Copy our FMC data. You can then click dry conditions. We can then, we don't know our, we don't know the information there, as a matter of fact. But we will try to answer the rest. AI off, runways. We will assume, oh, we have our wind here. Oh, 259 at 24 knots. Quite a heavy wind to be landing in. Not for this aircraft necessarily, but heavy enough. So we will go then for 28 left. We'll see. We'll calculate our distance to see how long the runway is here. So with an auto brake of 1, we will have 7,000 feet. The longest distance available is it's an 11,381 foot runway. So you have more than enough runway space for us to land at these auto brake levels. And so we'll go for number 1. Why not? We'll get a very relaxing slowdown. And so like I said, we calculated all this. We will send our output to the FMC, complete, and now the FMC will actually now have all that information, and it's seamless. I mean, seamlessly, it has. I'll show you here. It has put all this information in here. It put flaps 30. It's put gross weight that we're going to land at. Let's see. We have not put in our arrival yet, obviously, because we have not configured that yet. We'll go for an ILS. We put 28. Want to make sure it was left. 28 left. Yep. I believe we had mod 8. Yes. Select transition C. And we'll go for, let's see. As we're sitting here, we'll go and see where these transitions are, and we'll decide where we want to transition. So we'll go to our KSFO, go to our charts, go to ILS in runway 28 left. We'll see where our transitions are. We have the eddy transition here, which I think will actually be more applicable for us. Because metas were, yes, okay, here. So that means that we're going to go for the Meteor, which would be the Faith one, but we'll deal with that discontinuity there. Actually, no, undo that. Archie, there you go. So we're going to do the Archie transition. So as you can see in our route now, we will, turning left here, banking over to our Carlo waypoint. We'll go to our legs. We can actually go back to the CD. We'll go to our leg. We'll check this discontinuity here. I believe there will be one. Yep, here, and we will delete meta because it is actually an unnecessary waypoint, and it would have been taken care of if we had looked at it before. There we go. Execute. And that's an indicator showing us we're getting close to our, you can see perfect seamless. Just got an indicator that we are reaching our altitude that we set, and we'll do another check here what our VNAV is reporting. We will set a level for the VNAV to head us up to flight level 274 in a couple miles. So 274, we will set U2, and then as you can see, our vertical speed is now coming back up, and we will get the aircraft running back up. So another feature I would like to go through as we're going swiftly onto the Carlo waypoint, you can see that we have picked ILS run for runway 28 left. You can see that our localizer frequency is 109.55. You can see the ILS beacon here. So this is actually, from what I can see, is a very relaxed ILS. I mean, I have not seen much like this. It's as you can see, you are on course for the runway. Let's see, what is this? 10 miles? 10. It looks like 10. I think this is 10 nautical miles out, which is a very long final that we will be on in a moment. Anyway, moving on. You can see that our localizer is 109.55. Our final approach course will be 284. And this has actually transmitted all that data into this. So we can go to our navrad and see, oops, sorry, that did not work out correctly. Let's see. Maybe our departure and arrival was not set up correctly. Runway 28 left. I guess I didn't click ILS. ILS 28 left. What is the problem? Yeah, so we're gonna need to balance our fuel levels. We have low fuel on our left and right tanks, which is fine. We can go through those. So it's another indicator we're getting close to our altitude. Let's just check on our fuel real quick. Right, that's very strange. That is an imbalance for sure. Put on our crossfeed, see if that alleviates any problem there. Oh, that's bad. So we actually left one of our tanks. We're actually gonna have to leave that open then, in order to alleviate that imbalance. No worries, we'll figure that out. So yeah, we're gonna alleviate that imbalance here for now, and we will be able to figure that out as we will monitor that on our multifunction display. We'll monitor the system. We don't need that. Yep, so we're going to keep our navigation here, but we will also give a look to, we're going to go up to our flight level 330 cruising altitude. Actually, I think I calculated 37. Let's see. 330. Actually, no. So we're good. It will climb up to our cruising altitude. We'll be left there. Keep an eye on our fuel, like I said, on our multifunctional display. And that'll hopefully work out just fine. Keep an eye on that as we progress here. If you don't know what's going on, I'll show you. So you can see that because we've cut off fuel supply from the left, our left engine is actually being fed completely by the left main tank, which means that this will drain faster than that. The problem arises from our fuel pumps being incorrectly selected and having our right one off. So we're correcting that imbalance with the left one, and they should both be out of fuel actually at a similar time. Actually, that's another error there, it looks like, on our hydraulics that we will look at. We don't need that balance, actually. I don't know, our hydraulics do look fine. They're right here. So I don't know. But we will keep a look on, we will keep an eye on everything, just make sure it's going fine. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So that information should now go back to our CDU. Into our approach. We should have, so there we go, 28 left, ILS localizer 109.55 into our navrad, and I guess that's going to go in later. I don't know. But usually that would be sitting there, it'll say 109.55/284. So it's a very highly detailed aircraft. They've literally thought of everything, and it really is something else, and I'm really happy with it actually. So. And also, it starts at a price of $69.99 US dollars, so $70 US dollars. It is absolutely worth it, I would say. Compared to the PMDG prices, it's very well. And I'm using that as the top end of pricing. It is well worth the $70, and I think it commands the same amount of money as the PMDG 777. Actually, we're gonna take a look outside here. Just stunning. I know I have the landing lights over 10,000, which is incorrect, but. And apologies if it's dark and you can't see. I am flying at the actual time it is now, so it is nighttime. Maybe you shouldn't be in California though, to be fair. Anyway. As we're approaching our cruising altitude, we will take a little bit of a look into here. See that our crossfeed is actually working correctly, and we are getting a crossfeed of fuel into the right. Normally you'd expect the crossfeed to actually directly fill the right tank due to the imbalance of pressure, but I guess that's not happening right now. And I don't know why, but either way we'll still use it. We could always cut off the right main to get them to stabilize quicker, but this is working out pretty fine actually. So anyway, actually, you know what? No, anyway. So I would like to let you guys go now for a little while, and when we get closer to our top of descent, maybe 5 nautical miles, I will get you guys back and we'll go for a nice and relaxing approach into San Francisco International Airport. Quickly, we'll see this turn coming up. We'll look at the rest of the flight plan. We're going a little bit up to a northwesterly direction, and we will be there in approximately. This is also a nice feature of this aircraft. We can see here on our progress tab, we will be there at 6:57 Zulu time. It is currently 5:54 Zulu time, so we'll be landing at SFO in approximately 1. Welcome back to part 2 of our flight from Phoenix to San Francisco. We are still off at level 330, cruising onward to San Francisco with approximately 163 miles left with, let's see, where do we, 14 nautical miles to our top of descent. As you can see on our multifunctional display, we can see that the imbalance has been corrected and equalized, and now we have all of our fuel running from the middle too. So we can actually disable these ones if we wanted to, but there's no need now. Excuse me. Anyway, so that's been squared away, so we're actually going to go ahead and bring back to our navigation display. And in preparation for our descent, we will go ahead and do our checklist. Send checklist recall, nose checked, auto brake set to 1. We have our landing data. Yes, we are landing on 25 left at KSFO. Our VREF is 144 knots, I think, and I don't know our minimums, but we will see that. Approach briefing completed. We are going into the what is it called? Star. I believe it's such with an M. Anyway, so we're gonna check our VNAV. We're expected to be at 317 when we arrive at CZQ, so we'll set that into our 31. We'll set that into our altitude. We've officially started our descent into San Francisco.
To prepare for landing, it will be necessary to collect all service items, as well as any other items you wish to discard.
I'm going to do another. Actually, I'm going to clear us all the way down to our next waypoint, which will be flight level 215. And so when I do this, I'm putting a cap on how far we can descend, because it is VNAV. We will reach this. We will only reach this level, which is 215. So basically, the way it works is, in our VNAV, we have set out where we're going to be at different, as far as our height and our speed at certain waypoints. When I put in 215, that means it will go down and reach 215 and make sure that we are at 215 at the proper waypoint. Now, I could clear it all the way down to 4,800 if I wanted to, and that would be possible. Doing that would sort of make this discontinuity go away. Oh. Can I just delete this discontinuity? No. Alright, we're just gonna do this. Sometimes the plane's a little fidgety, I don't know why. So I could theoretically do 4,800 and it would get us all the way down to 4,800 only when we arrived at Meta. So it basically controls the rate of this descent to be within the bounds of each waypoint that you're going to. That has its values already set for it. So 215, it'll only reach 215 when we get there. You'll see that. So you can see that it's actually calculating what rate of descent it needs to go at to be there at that point. And you'll see as it's coming closer and closer, it's actually gonna most likely will calculate that has a little more distance. See, that's going back up. So you see that it's calculating, it has a lot more distance, so it can actually go at a much more measly 1,400 feet per minute descent and get there about the same time. Get there with time. So now that we're well on our way, we already have our EFB with our descent, with our ILS for the runway here. We're going to go into our approach settings, and we're going to see again we have 30143. So we're going for a Flaps 30 approach at 143 knots. Our nav rad is now set to 109.55, which is the correct ILS. We will tune. We're already tuned. We're actually already a very neat feature of the 787 is that's actually tuned in already. So whenever we are on that whenever we're on that path, all we're gonna have to do is click localizer, and we're already gonna be selected the correct localizer, and it's a very nifty feature. I know a lot of other aircraft do that, but I was not actually aware of that feature. As funny as that is. So I did want to say I apologize for any like sorry, I'm just checking something real quick. Just like me being not really good at this at the moment. Obviously, it's been a very long time since I've done this, and I'm just not necessarily where I should be probably when it comes to figuring, like, being good at videos and what have you. So just be patient. I will get back to where I was I will get back to where I used to be as far as being decent. So we're well on our way. I mean, there's not really much to do at this point besides monitor our descent and make sure that we're actually maintaining these descents. At this point, I'd like to actually move this down a little bit so I can actually keep the CDU up as I descend. It's just a neat feature. I mean, you don't need to do it, obviously. It's not necessary by any means, but it does help. I do actually, I do plan on hand flying this approach, so we have our ILS set, but we may or may not continue to use that when it comes to the flying. I mean, it depends on what the weather's like, obviously. And for that, we could actually give it a little check to our, not that, EFB. Go to our performance, go back into our landing. Our winds are still, let's see, right, 259 at 260, so 28 left is still the right one way to use. We're still going to be 24 knots, so I will do a manual approach. I mean, anything 20 is a reasonable amount to deal with. I mean, it's not going to be a crosswind either. It's going to be basically a. Oh wait, that's actually these things. Well, maybe that's what the weather is there too. I don't know. Anyway, so we're just monitoring our descent here now. We have our next waypoint, which is MOD, and we will be at 15860. So, because of that, we would clear ourselves down, theoretically, to ourselves. Obviously, we're not clearing ourselves down with any ATC action, so clear ourselves down to 15800, so 15,800 feet. And you'll see that the system is now actually adjusting to be at that level by the next waypoint. So it's a very nifty feature. Most or all aircraft nowadays have this, and obviously high-end aircraft in The Sims do have it as well. Really great. Learning how to use it is something that you will never be like. You'll always be thankful that you learn how to use it. And it makes your life easier. Makes a little bit more systems, system management versus flying, but in the end of the day, that's really all this is. So, anyway, I do want to go into a little bit more of a discussion topic. I mean, the plan for this video was actually going to be a little bit of like a pattern work and discussion, but I don't really have a great aircraft in this sim, and I did want to do another flight with my 787 around the world little mini thing I got going on, and I decided to do this instead. I mean, I did decide to not do a regular full flight. I mean, I think that what we'll do is a review, because this is more of a first impression type video. We'll do a review after, and then we'll also do a full VATSIM flight. I mean, that's the plan for now. I don't know what you guys want to see. If you guys are interested in those too, please let me know. And I think I'm going to do those two anyway, regardless, to be honest with you. But I don't know. So it is completely up to my viewers. If my viewers would be interested in that, I would love to do those videos. But as you can see, the vertical navigation system is once again trying to figure out what vertical speed we need. Our lateral navigation system is actually laterally navigating us. And
Descent checklist.
our checklist is complete. We also need our speed is also being managed by the computer as well. Other than that, descent checklist, we are good. I'm going to go ahead and set our speed brake for landing. Our descent checklist is figured out. Go ahead and do the approach. Our altimeters are set. Our landing, our speed brake would be, that is armed, so I don't, that's armed, okay, sorry. Landing gear would be down, the flaps would be set. So we'll leave this one actually on the left side. Go back to our CDU there so we can have both of these things up at the same time. Very useful stuff for multitasking. And we're nearly there actually. If we go here to our progress log, we're gonna be in about 20 minutes time, probably a little bit earlier than that. I would imagine. But only 80 miles to go, which in a plane like this is not very long. See, our ground speed is 386, so we'll be there relatively soon. So like I said, as part of, you can actually see the our flight plan elongated on the right multifunctional display. You can see it here. Not very far to go, so yeah, that is good. We're almost there. So like I said earlier, my plans right now are I'm going to do that around the World Series. I mean, I can do this type of video where it's a longer style where we do our pre-flight checklist, take off, get nearly to cruise, cut through, and then cut back to our approach. I would be interested in doing that. It could take you all over the place, and obviously I don't really have the funds to do scenery and stuff, so it'd be nice to be able to do around the world with scenery. And maybe that might come to fruition, I'm not sure, but I think that doing this series would be nice to see, a large variation in travel, and maybe clear up some other people's, I don't know, anxieties with doing long hauls, or show that it's fun to travel, or just doing it for the fun of the series. I think it would be nice to have that variation in traveling, and also be able to say that I went all over the place. Other than that, I'd love to do another. I mean, as soon as Project Fly Career comes out, I'd love to do a career with that. I would love to do. I would absolutely. I hear me now. I'm absolutely planning on doing a series for that. I think that would be a very fun series to do. Even I would love to do it myself. So irrespective of doing it, I'm not doing it for views. Just it would be a very fun series, I think, to do as a content creator. And also, I forgot to mention earlier, if you're somebody who has been a subscriber or been a viewer for a while, I would like to thank you for coming back and apologize for being gone for so long. I mean, things happen, I'm sure you understand that, but I would like to say that I'm very appreciative that, you know, I have the platform that people would still come to and use after such a tremendously long time. So again, we are clearing ourselves for another waypoint ahead. As you can see, again, where I say 12,400, our next waypoint we're expected to be 14,000, but now we're going to do 12,400 just to clear ourselves through that next waypoint, so we're not, so our plane is not trying to correct too much and doesn't actually get to the next waypoint without having calculated it prior. So you'll see at this next junction, when we get through Grown, we have 16 miles to drop 4,000 feet and 16 miles to drop 67 knots of speed, which is going to be a very difficult task for this aircraft to accomplish. It will be able to do it because it wouldn't actually the feature of this aircraft, it wouldn't calculate something like that it would not be able to do. So here we're going to clear ourselves down to 8,800. But this is going to be quite an immense task for this aircraft to get down like that. So over time, we've slowly but surely really cut away at a lot of this altitude here. We're almost 8,000, or almost through 10,000 feet here now. Meaning that obviously these were already on, but if they were off, we'd turn our landing lights back on. We'll take a nice quick look around the aircraft before we get back. I mean, yeah, it is stunning, and I would like to apologize. The frame rate is not as good as, like I said, as it normally runs. I'm running it during the break when I had fraps off. I was running it at 85 frames a second and outside at 90. So it is a very high performing aircraft, a very high performing simulator. It just is the fact that with fraps it cuts it down to a third of what it is. So I'm gonna research getting another screen recorder just in order to mitigate all that crap. As you can see, so before we've even actually cleared, we haven't. So before we even cleared the settings, we're actually slowing our aircraft down to 240 miles, knots, because the plane has calculated that it actually needs to start slowing down before it can't slow down to that degree and descend to that degree within 16 nautical miles, which is something that makes sense. I mean, if you've ever flown an aircraft like this, you know 16 nautical miles is not very far. It takes about 2 minutes to cover that distance, 2.5 minutes. Dropping 60 knots and dropping 4,000 feet would be almost impossible to do for any aircraft. So it calculated that already, and VNav figured that out for us, so we don't have to worry about it, which is fantastic. You can see our next waypoint again. We are going to be, let's make this a little wider, 6,100 feet. We're going to clear ourselves right through to that. And the plan is when we get to Meta, I believe, when we get to Meta, we will put on our, oh, actually, I don't know if that's the actual plan. Let's see. When we get to, so when we get to Meta, and we get to Duyay, so when we get to Meta, after a little while, we will engage our localizer for ILS, runway 25 left.
Approach checklist.
Our approach checklist is actually completed, and we will go ahead and look at our excuse me, our approach check. Yeah, so we have our altimeter set, landing gear, whatever. Right, okay, so we're good. So like I said, I'm gonna clear us all the way down to 4,800 now, which it's not gonna get us there now. It'll get us there by Meta, which is the waypoint we need to be at 4,800 for. But just to get down there and clear ourselves through makes sense in my opinion. So we're about to pass 10,000 feet, and we should be under 250 knots by the time, because that is the speed limit for this. So you can see that the aircraft's actually bleeding off a little bit of speed before it descends into that below 10,000 airspace. 4,800 will be at 240. I think that'll be too fast. We have 20 miles to slow down which should be more than enough to slow down like that. So when we arrive at Douai, we will do that last 30 knots, and that's the plan. So I'm fully confident with that. We briefed our approach, we briefed our landing. We'll be landing 25 left ILS, then transferring into a visual approach, and I'm confident with this, so we'll continue. I also want to say apologies again, because I know, like I said, the quality of my, there you go, see, 245 at 9,600, so we're under the speed limit. You know, the quality of my commentary is bound to be far lower than it ever was prior, and so like I said, I would like to apologize for that. And also, I'm also very tired. I wasn't tired when I started the video, and I'm just really tired now. So my fault. I probably should have planned a little bit better, and apologies for any lack of quality commentary. And naturally, I wouldn't necessarily put out a video that I think is bad, but I think that the freeform of this video actually does the situation justice, because it is a little strange coming back after so long and having a little bit of a random, rambly video kind of does it justice, that there's a lot to talk about. So now coming up on status, 0.3 miles, see our banking to the left will begin now. 12.5 miles to Archie, and at Archie we're expected to be at 4,800 feet. No, 61, sorry. So we will descend right through to that, naturally. Give it another little update on our progress. We're expected to be in at 7:06 Zulu, so in 8 minutes we'll be on the ground, and we are 35 miles away. So, okay, so we'll give that a little X out, and we'll just continue. Should start getting ready for my hand flying. I think that we'll be able to start seeing the runway soon out here. I think that might be it out there. You know what, that is a star. But I'm happy because we're now in California. I think that the next flight will be part of my World Series. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to upload it, but my Around the World Series that I will be flying to probably Tokyo or maybe Seoul. I haven't quite decided on what I'm going to do, but probably one of those two. I don't think I'd go to Hong Kong. It might be too long of a flight. Might save that for a short ferry on the world tour. Just drop my phone. So anyway, you can see that the vertical speed is going to start moving a little bit here, because again, it's trying to calculate how to get to meta how to get to meta while at 4,800 feet. You can see now it's gone all the way past it again, and it will come back down to probably leveling off at about 900 feet per minute. So you can see it's coming back down now, and down I mean negative, and that bar coming closer to meta, probably like I said, 900, 950, and again it overshot. So the computer's not perfect. I mean, it happens. It doesn't exactly do it a perfect job, but it does damn near close. And it is actively trying to get to 6,100 before Archie, so it does make sense that it's doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and get the view that I will use to land, which will be 40% zoom at about here. I do usually like to do 30% zoom, but I just not the quality, but the resolution is such that it's not it's not an amazing view of the electronics at this zoom, but it will have to suffice. I mean, I could do 40 and then just do a quick little, I think I'll do that. So another 5-6 minutes left in our flight. It's been a nice, no bumps, very, very smooth. The aircraft has been performing great, besides that little hiccup in our, oh, see, look at that, sorry for my momentary lack of concentration, but you can see that we have 263 knots at 18, 264 now. Wind 264 at 18 knots. So perfect landing conditions for runway 28 left. So anyway, as I was saying, besides the fuel problem, which was my fault. The plane has been performing great. And it really is showing how amazing and how worth it is of the money that it does command, which is not insignificant, but definitely worth it for this package. So coming up on 4,800 feet. We'll reach the 4,800 feet slightly after, it looks like. The aircraft might try to change that, but now that we are set through, I will give us a 1,800. I'll give us a 2,000 foot floor, and you can see that we are actually going down to 200, which is almost at our speed limit on the lower end, so we will give ourselves a flap 1 when we get to around 220. Our max for our flaps is 250 knots, so we are below the max for that, but we might as well just keep them out because we are still, whatever, 20 miles away from the runway. As we correct here, we will go ahead and switch on our localizer. Maybe not quite important at the moment because of how far we are. I'll give it a go, actually. I'll go for it. Why not? Switch on our localizer. And we are looking like it's coming into we are capturing the glide slope at some point soon. You can see that our speed's coming down now. Go ahead and drop down the flaps 1. We will be landing with full flaps today. You can see that we're capturing the localizer now with a little bit of a right bank. This is turning out to actually be my first effective ILS capture on this aircraft so far. Everything else has been a little bit chaotic because the flights were a little bit crazy, but it has gone well. And we're going to take off. Oh, sorry, capture that localizer again. Oops. There we go. We're going to go for take off that VNAV, switch on AT. I don't know what's going on, but our speed's a little high.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation
You can see
for
that we are
please return all seat backs and tray
heading
tables
towards
to
the
their
runway
upright
now.
and stow position. Ensure all portable electronic devices are turned off and stow all carry-on items. Additionally, footrest and video
I have to get off that
monitors must be
VNAV.
returned
Oh well.
to their original position.
Either way,
Thank you.
we will end up hand flying the approach in the end anyway. 2,500, we're going to actually disengage our auto throttle, go down to 0. And we might have to, we're going to let our gear down, we might have to go a little bit of slots. I don't know why, but it seems that our aircraft has not properly slowed itself down here. Because we are on about 8 mile final. We'd want to be at around, we can put that back on. We would want to be, like I said, around 170 already. See that the localizer has been captured. It looks like we are good to go. So we've got our flaps. Gonna go down to flaps 15 now. You can see as the vertical is coming up on the localizer, we will dip down again with our nose will start to dip down again as we capture the vertical glide slope, or not. Anyway, we're gonna disengage autopilot and hand fly the rest. Because clearly it's not working out. I will use auto throttle for the remainder actually. Or not. I will hand fly the rest. We are very high right now, so it does do us justice to get a little bit of a throttle out. Can't get the. There we go. That's perfect.
Landing checklist.
Flaps are full. Other than that, we're a little slow, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of throttle. But we do want to actually stay throttle lower because we are quite high. Again, you can see that our glide slope is coming up now. We're a little bit left, so we're going to correct that here. Looks good. Dip the nose down to compensate for that, so we're going to be a little bit faster on the vertical speed, but that's okay. Laterally, we look good. Very good. Coming up here on the glide, so we don't really, I don't feel any need for any throttle at the moment, but I'm going to introduce something in order to keep the airspeed up. So we are very slow,
500.
which I think is a side effect of our heavy flaps and such. Cause we, look, I mean, you can tell we have such a, we are high on the approach, and we also have such a deficit of speed, which is highly unusual. So we're gonna land now. We're at minimum. So we're gonna land 200. We'll see our landing light starting to illuminate. We're gonna go zero on our throttle here. Still, so we can see that we're still high. Throttle 0. We're very high, so that's my fault. Happens. We start bringing it back to the yoke. So it's going to be a good greaser.
30.
A little bit of a stall.
20.
No worries.
10.
It's okay at this speed. It's natural. 116 landing speed. It's natural to have a little bit of a stall there. So we're going to let the auto braking do the braking for us. And we're not employing any reverses as it's not needed. Plenty of room to stop. And I think that we will use our progressive taxi from Prepared 3D to get us in today. You can see that this is our auto braking is still going, so we're going to go San Francisco ground. Taxi to parking.
Ladies and
Taxi to
gentlemen,
gates.
we will be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns on the fasten
Delta 12.
seatbelt sign. At that time, please
So our
remain
next flight to
seated
Asia will start at
in the seat
Delta
pockets
12 at
and overhead
SFO.
bins for all personal belongings that you brought
So I
on
think it's
board.
going to be.
Please take care when opening the overhead bins, as the contents may have shifted.
We have to
during
go
flight.
backwards? Oh, that's a shame. That sucks. I have turned off our what's it called? I have turned off the what is it called? The traffic for this flight, as obviously I was saying, I'm not using ATC, so rather than causing a traffic conflict, rather just get that out of the way and not use traffic at all. And as soon as I am using an ATC that is actually functional with me, I think I'm going to be upgrading to ATC Pro X or whatever it's called. It looks like a very good ATC solution for the game. That seems to be the best option for me. We're gonna we're gonna put down the HUD for now. It turns out I'm not a very large fan of the HUD when it comes to flying in approaches. I think it just clutters the view. I don't really like it. I do like it for taxiing. I do like it for in-flight, and I love it for takeoff. It just happens that when you're in an approach situation and you have your mind, focusing on a runway and all those lights, that can kind of get in the way. So I prefer not to have it. But to each their own. I mean, if that's something you like to do, then that's great. It definitely seems useful, just not my favorite thing. So we're going to get this left turn in here, apply a little bit of right thrust from the edge. You can see the right side of the aircraft turning around here, and we will cut that, and we will bring it back. Now that we're on our taxiway, we will start our APU. Oops, shit. No worries. It's all good. A little bit of a fuck up there. That is my bad. I don't want to seem like I suck. I just got a little carried away with the APU start. And we'll capture the center line. All nice so you can see that I'm actually capable of taxiing the plane. And there you go. Looks good. Oh, a little bit off. We will be going all the way as we are a heavy aircraft. There we go. We'll apply our parking brake. The aircraft is now in park. Our APU should be running in a moment. APU gens are already on. But since we are waiting for that to start, we shouldn't turn off the engines, but we'll turn them off because it should be on in about a second. So we'll go through our after landing checklist. Speed brake was already armed. Let's go normal. Oops. Come on. So the APU is running now. Obviously. And we'll shut her down. Oh shit, ooh, that's tough. Shutdown hydraulic panel is set. Off. Parking brake is set. Flaps are not up because I am dumb. I don't know if our our hydraulics are off, so we can't actually get the flaps up. Dummy. See if we can get them up now. I don't know if we will. Anyway, seems like a good point to end the video. If we can't get the flaps up, we can't get the flaps up. That's fair enough. I would like to thank you guys for tuning in today. Obviously, I know it wasn't a perfect flight, but it went very well. Hopefully, I gave you a very good, well-rounded view over of the quality of the 787. Truly a remarkable aircraft. It is outstanding. I mean, it's unlike anything I've ever used. So, I would have to say, if you're considering it, you should absolutely go for it if you have the money. Obviously, if you're not in a position to buy it, then do not buy it. Save your money. But if you do have the money and you're thinking about it, go for it. You will not be disappointed. The level of software, the level of hardware, the level of flight dynamics, it's all very good. It's all high. It's all fantastic. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But I mean, the model is, like I said, the model's great. The inside model obviously is great. Everything about it is pretty much a fantastic product, and I would recommend giving the 787 a try, as it is the only one that is serious and is also of any quality. So with that being said, we'll leave it there. I would like to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said, also in the comments, drop down a comment of what you think we should see next, and I would love to make that video, whatever it is. If you guys like some of the suggestions I made, please let me know. But other than that, I'm going to head out, and I'll see you guys next time.